Well, hello there. Hi everyone, it's Bryony. Welcome back to my channel, and boy has it been a while since I have said that. Yeah, that's right, I am back and I have had my baby. My son, Oren, was born on the 17th of February this year, and it has been an amazing couple of months. He is the most gorgeous, beautiful boy that ever has been, obviously, not biased at all with that opinion. And I have been really enjoying the time that we've had to spend together and the time off from work. Completely the last 3 months. It has been absolute bliss. It has also, however, given me time to sort of think about new ideas and new ways I want to take the channel in the future. So it's been quite good for me, I think, from a creative standpoint too, because whilst I've been focusing solely on him, every now and then when I've been sitting breastfeeding, an idea will pop into my head and I'll go, oh yeah, that would be a really good video idea. Oh yes, I could talk about that. So that's been quite fun to have too, and been able to kind of start planning out things that I would do when I started working again. Now I wanted to make this video first before I post any other videos on my channel, because things are still going to be a little bit different for the next couple of months, and that's because I am actually still technically on maternity leave. So in the UK, you are entitled, regardless of whether you're employed or self-employed, to take 9 months of paid maternity leave. The way that maternity pay is given to you is a bit different depending on which one you are, and I'm self-employed, but everyone is entitled to that. But you are also entitled, regardless of whether you're employed or self-employed, to take something called a KIT day. Now KIT stands for keeping in touch, and these are days where basically you are allowed to work and earn money without losing your maternity leave and your maternity pay. Oh, there's an aeroplane. It is good to be back. So I decided before Oren was born that I was going to take 3 months off completely, which is obviously what I've done so far, and just have that time to focus on him and not worry about working at all. And then I would start coming back to work with, producing videos and stuff gradually over the next coming months. So my plan for the next 2 to 3 months is to use my KIT days up gradually in order to start producing some more content and posting videos, but that still allows me to spend most of my time with my son. For example, this month I'm only taking 2 KIT days, and then next month I might take 2 or 3. So I still get the majority of the time with my son, but it also allows me to kind of gradually introduce my way back into work. Now, the side effect of that is that while I'm taking this KIT day, my mum very kindly has Oren for me, so he's not here currently. It's my first time away from him for like a whole day, and it's really weird. I know I'll get used to it, but it's still like, where's my baby? And that's another reason why I kind of wanted to slowly ease into this. But because it is my mum who is looking after him during the day, I've basically arranged with her that she will have him. We're kind of fit in these KIT days as and when she has availability. So that means that my schedule, rather than being like the same time every week that it will be when I fully return to work, is a bit more ad hoc at the moment. My current aim with the KIT days is to be able to film and edit and schedule 2 videos each day that I take a KIT day, which is what I'm planning to do today. I'm trying this out, and I will then be able to schedule them to go out in the future too. Actually, the editing side is not quite as important because I do have someone that can edit videos for me if I can't fit it into my day, so that I can outsource to somebody else. But the actual sitting down and doing these videos, that is what I have to do on my KIT day, because KIT days are basically days where you can work, earn money without sacrificing your maternity leave pay. So yes, I'm currently planning to use up my KIT days from now until probably the end of August, maybe a little bit beyond that. We'll see how many I have left at that point. And like I said, that basically allows me to have more time with my son and spend time with him mostly, but also to start creating content again and putting things out on my channel. That does, however, mean that whilst I'm aiming to have a schedule where a video goes out each Friday, there may be a day where, for example, my mum's unwell and so she can't have him, and therefore that KIT day doesn't happen, or I may only be able to get 1 video done in my KIT day as opposed to 2. It just kind of depends on how things work. And so I'm aiming to try and get at least 3, hopefully 4 videos out each month by filming 2 videos each time I take a KIT day. And if I take 2 KIT days in a month, obviously that would be 4 videos, but it very much depends on like how my schedule works and stuff. And so just to give you a heads up that I'm aiming to be consistent with it, but it may not happen like that, because obviously right now the most important thing is that I have this time with my son, which I will never have again, but I also do still want to be creating content and kind of getting back into the swing of things too. So I wanted to give you a heads up that that's how things are going to be working going forwards from now. So there will be some structure introduced, but like be easy with me if things don't go to plan straight away. So now that you're all up to date with what's going to be happening going forwards, I'm going to answer a few questions from you guys that I've been getting over the last couple of months on my Instagram, and in particular I did a little story just before I came on to film this and asked some of you to send me any questions you have, and I'll answer a few of them right now. So the first question that I've had is, how are you finding it different parenting your own compared to fostering children? And honestly, not that different. Actually, I'm kind of glad somebody asked me this now, because one of the questions that I've had from not too many people, but a couple of people that has slightly annoyed me, even though no one's ever asked it with any sort of malicious intent. But it's this idea of how does it feel having your own child now? And I think when people ask me this, they're expecting me to be like, oh my God, it's so different. Like, I love him so much. It's just incredible. I can't like even compare them. And like they're expecting this really different reaction. And honestly, it's not that different. Like, here's the thing. I love my son so much. Like, oh my goodness. I was so relieved after the nightmare of my pregnancy that when he came out, I had this really strong bond with him. And I did. Like, my mental health stuff, by the way, because I've had this question a bit too. My mental health stuff instantly improved the moment he was born. It's been such a relief. I've had such a better time postpartum than I did during my pregnancy. Thank God so far. And so I have a really strong bond with him and I love him to pieces, and oh my goodness, his little smile in the morning when he wakes up, it's just incredible. But I loved my foster children too. And yes, it is like a different kind of love, but it's still a really strong feeling. I mean, I've had kids where they've come from some pretty terrible situations. You're handed this baby quite often by a social worker that's picked them up from a hospital or picked them up from somewhere and just given them to you, and it's kind of like, good luck. And then you look at this child and go, you are totally dependent on me right now. The people who are supposed to look after you haven't been able to do that properly for whatever reason. You are totally reliant on me and us forming an attachment. And you can kind of see that in them, how quickly they learn that they have to rely on you to be their main caregiver. I have always found that incredibly powerful to me personally, and I find that I attach to them very quickly. Now, I also attach to Oren very quickly, and it is very different as well, and also the way that he's being fed is different because I'm breastfeeding him, and obviously my foster children had to be formula fed by bottles. So, you know, there are those differences between them, but when they're babies in particular, they're very little and you do attach them really quickly. And I've always got really attached to my foster children and I've always loved them, and I've been devastated when they've left. It's the worst thing in the world leading up to the time that they leave, and you know they're going to go. It's horrific. So I always loved them, and I think people just cannot get their head around the fact that you can take children on and love them like your own, knowing that they're going to go. Like, people just think, oh, I couldn't do it because I get too attached, and you kind of go, the whole point is to get attached to them. If you can look after a child and not get attached, you should not be a foster carer. Like, that is the whole point of fostering. So I was really attached to my foster children, and actually since I've had Oren, I've thought about them a lot more, and I always, like, I drive past places that I associate with different children. I think, oh, that's where this child did this and that's where this child did that, and you never lose that. And so with Oren, I'm forming these new attachment and these new bonds, and it's a bit different, I guess, in a way, because he's mine, and so I know that, like, he's not going anywhere in a month's time. For example, I'm not transitioning back to a birth family or transitioning him to adopters like I know I'm going to be doing with foster children. And I love him, and the love is very deep and it's very different, but it's not like that much different right now. I think the big differences will come as time goes on and as he gets older, and those attachments form even more strongly over time and those bonds connect even more, because right now it is pretty similar, I'd say. But yeah, I do find this question a bit annoying sometimes, particularly when people ask it like with the intention of, how is it with your own child? Like, obviously you love your own child more than you would love somebody else's child, and it's so difficult to explain that, like, it's not like that. It's different. You love them differently, but that doesn't mean that it's a better love and that the foster children had less. Like, it's just different, basically. The next question I have is, where did you get the inspiration for Oren's name? So Oren is an old Celtic name. It's kind of got Gaelic origins. Gaelic and Nordic origins, and my family are Scottish. My mum's side of the family has Scottish heritage, and there's Scottish Gaelic and Irish Gaelic. There's different types of Gaelic, actually. And Oren has some more Nordic roots, and my dad's side of the family has Nordic roots as well. I know I'm like dark-haired and dark-eyed and olive-skinned. It's hard to believe, but like way back we do. So I really liked that it had those sort of connections to my heritage kind of from way back. But also I wanted a name that was unique, so it was kind of special to him, but still pronounceable, which I feel like Oren is. So I don't know, I heard it, I saw it, and I just loved it, and I was like, that's his name. The next question is, what has been the biggest adjustment? Oh my goodness, it has to be breastfeeding. I totally underestimated how much different it was breastfeeding a child versus bottle feeding. I was not prepared for that. It's by far been the most stressful thing since I've had Oren. I found the adjustment to having him much easier than like the pregnancy stuff. I think because I had previously fostered, when I had him, like my life kind of went back to normal as such. Like, you know, obviously I was breastfeeding and recovering from birth, but actually looking after a baby, that's what I used to do with fostering a lot. So, you know, that wasn't that different really. But the breastfeeding, like that has been a journey. I will definitely be doing a video on my breastfeeding journey. It's still ongoing at the moment, so it'll probably be a little way in the future. But yes, that was the thing I was least prepared for. And the final question I'm going to answer in this video is, how did you cope with being a single mum during night feeds? Famous last words, because Oren is approaching the 4-month mark where there's a very famous sleep progression, but he hasn't been too terrible at night. I will say this is one thing that is probably easier with breastfeeding versus bottle feeding, because when they wake up you just kind of shove them on the boob rather than having to kind of get up and prepare a bottle for them. But I never really struggled that much with night feeds. I find that after a while they sort of get into a rough routine of they wake up every sort of 3 hours, or they wake up every 4 hours, whatever it is. Your body kind of adjusts to them waking up at these particular times, and because of that, I find that I automatically almost wake up at those times when he would wake up. So my body learnt to adjust to these new sort of night patterns. It's actually a little bit more difficult when he goes through a new kind of phase. As of right now, he's sleeping quite reasonably. Knock on wood. Yeah, I just kind of got through it, to be honest. The first 6 weeks, I was obviously at my parents' house, which meant they were able to help me out during the day with basically doing all the cooking, the washing, the cleaning, and I just sort of existed in this like breastfeeding nest on the sofa. But at night time, I always did all the night feeds and changed his nappy and stuff. They would sleep through the night, so I felt that was more useful to me, because when he woke up, he needed feeding, he needed to go on the boob. So it wasn't really worth having my mum get up to help me. So I thought I'll do the night feeds, and then during the day, if I need to take a nap or something and he's had a feed and he's not sleeping, they can obviously help me out because they're well rested and I can take a nap on the sofa. But actually, I didn't find it was that difficult. Nailing the sideline breastfeeding, that was a big thing. That made life so much easier, because particularly with Oren, he is very much a contact napper, and so if he falls asleep while he's breastfeeding and I'm lying down, then I can just basically like unhook him and continue lying next to him, and we can kind of snooze together. But yeah, nighttime feeds I didn't find too difficult. I just kind of had my phone with me, would scroll through messages or go through Instagram or watch like random YouTube videos. I got up to date with like the Habsburg history in Europe or something, I can't remember at some point. You know, just random stuff would come up and I'd watch it to distract me and keep me awake basically. So that's just a little insight into some of the things that have been going on and just answering a couple of your questions. I will be doing more videos in the future and covering way more topics, and I'm so excited to be back, and I hope you guys are excited to start seeing videos again too. Oh, there's one more thing I did want to talk about actually, which is that a while ago, somebody suggested that I set up a Ko-fi link, which I always call Ko-fi because my dyslexic brain reads it as that, but I'm pretty sure you pronounce it Ko-fi. It's basically like an alternative to Patreon, which is what I was using before, which is kind of like a monthly subscription service that people can, you know, subscribe to with my Patreon to kind of support me in other ways. But I didn't feel it was really that relevant for me because I never do any specific content on Patreon because I just don't have the time to do that really. But the Ko-fi link is basically one where you can tip someone. You don't have to do a monthly subscription. So if you have found some of my videos helpful, or if you're watching like a series, my motherhood series or any of my period videos or whatever it is, and you found that helpful and you want to leave a tip, then you can do that via my Ko-fi link, which I will leave down below. Absolutely no pressure at all, but I have had quite a few people ask about it, and so I wanted to mention it here that I do now have one. It's Precious Stars Vlogs over there, and I'll put the link down below too if you wanted to leave a tip at all. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Do please subscribe. I'm so looking forward to getting back to doing more videos again, and I will see you very soon. Bye everyone, have a great day.